Tyrod Taylor, currently right now, is the quarterback for the Houston Texans, along with Deshaun Watson.
Amazing.
So you think about what possibly could happen. We don't know, but a guy who I can ask and get some of the questions that I think a lot of people want answered is Aaron Wilson, at Aaron Wilson NFL on Twitter. He covers the Houston Texans for the Houston Chronicle. And I guess, Aaron, it's Thursday. What's the temperature today on everything surrounding Deshaun Watson, just for today, I guess?
Well, obviously it's a very upsetting time for fans of Deshaun and, for those closest to him. And I've been in touch with, I was actually just on the phone with someone that he's in a business deal with. He's also one of his close friends, Lefty's Cheesesteak, Sam Berry, who's the owner and founder of that restaurant chain. And Deshaun is an equity partner. And, yeah, he's been trying to, keep Deshaun encouraged, lift his spirits. It's very upsetting. Obviously, you can imagine what it's like to be accused of what he's being accused of. So, yeah, they're calling him one of the filings, the woman called him a quote, serial predator, the 14th lawsuit of the 16th that was filed. All civil litigation, all innocent until proven guilty, no criminal proceedings. And, yeah, this is a man who's, in for the fight of his life. His reputation, his good name is on the line. And as everyone's told me, yeah, he's embarrassed, he's upset, he's angry. It's frustrating. Talking to his high school football coach, he's very upset. He said he can't even get on social media because of what people are saying. And he's, what I'm getting from his inner circle is this is just incongruous with his character and what they know of him, and they are in disbelief. They don't believe the allegations, and they are asking everyone to give it time and, let it play out.
Aaron, when you first caught wind of this, right, when these allegations, these lawsuits, when all this, started to get stirred up a little bit, did you expect to get to where it's at right now currently, where it seems that you mentioned the lawsuits are piling up, the litigation is now starting to pile up? Did you expect it to get this big?
No, I don't think anyone thought that he would sign up this many plaintiffs. The attorney, I'm referring to Tony Busby, former mayoral candidate, high-profile lawyer here, who's in a legal battle with Deshaun Watson, who's represented by Rusty Hardin, Roger Clemens, and Adrian Peterson's former attorney, and a high-profile guy himself, really actually bigger than Tony, but they're both, big-time lawyers. Mm-hmm. I thought that what he would face would be, one case or a few cases, and when I saw Deshaun that evening respond on social media and how he characterized it, I thought, well, maybe, he's going to have some problems.
Correct.
We didn't think it would get to this depth and that there would be this many litigants. We're only at 16 cases. Tony Busby in a press conference said he has spoken to 22 women. So he may sign up additional plaintiffs, and they're all Jane Does because they're anonymous. They have also his camp, Brian Burney, has issued a sworn affidavit that they released saying that one of the women was trying to blackmail Deshaun, acknowledged that they had a consensual exchange, and then that the woman asked for $30,000. They denied it. They didn't meet that, and now they're in a legal fight. So, yeah, no, I didn't think that it would get to be this many. I don't think anyone could predict that. The only one that would have really known that would have been the plaintiffs and Tony Busby. And I don't think Rusty Hardin, who was, hired after this situation started to spiral, he's getting his hands around it. He's trying to, battle back. And, and talking to, Rusty, talking to, Deshaun's camp, yeah, they're taking it very seriously, and they're, it's a tough situation. Obviously, it's emotional, and one thing, that everyone has to respect is the legal process, and no one should, shame victims or things like that. And they're not doing that. They're just, trying to stick with facts. And I think everybody needs to respect the legal process. And there's a court of public opinion. There's the actual courts, and then there's the NFL investigation, which is parallel.
We're speaking with Aaron Wilson, who covers the Houston Texans for the Houston Chronicle. And you mentioned his name a couple times, the lawyer Tony Busby, and he's kind of, I'm looking at his tactics so far and how he has went about this situation, and he's going to Instagram, he's going to social media, and yet you don't actually have any kind of criminal lawsuits just yet. This has all been sort of civil, but just the tactics of Tony Busby, has that really caught people off guard? Has he made this thing really such a public situation that is really smearing, regardless of the outcome, Deshaun Watson, to where no matter what, he's almost guilty?
Well, I'm sorry. If you asked that question just quickly again, I was just returning a text. I apologize.
Yeah, just the social media aspect of it, the way that Tony Busby has went about.
Why is Tony Busby doing that?
Yes.
Well, it's the equivalent, the modern way of putting an ad on TV. Have you ever seen, like, have you been injured on the job? Have you ever been exposed to asbestos? If so, call this law firm.
Right.
It's the same thing. Yeah, and I know that people are saying, "Oh, well, we're looking down on it," but as Rusty Hardin called it, a circus-like atmosphere created by Tony Busby. That was his characterization, not mine. It is the modern day equivalent of saying, if you got a case, hit me up, and we'll talk about it, and then maybe he'll sign them up, maybe he won't. But my point is, it doesn't necessarily, if you think about it, there's nothing illegal or necessarily even unethical. It'd be the same thing if, whether it's the television realm or social media, it's like a free advertisement. And that's his social channel, just like he can use his Facebook, and he does use his Facebook account. People might not like it, but that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with that. And, I think that's kind of, I know that it seems like, well, that's crazy, and he does say some things on Instagram that you could say, wow, that's a lot. And he offers his opinion. Most lawyers don't do that, but he's a different style lawyer. He's the guy that had a Sherman tank parked in front of his, actually, I live pretty close to him, except I live in the high rise, and he's got some mansion like Cal McNair, the Texans owner. But, yeah, he had a tank parked out front. He's had a DUI before that he beat. He's also really powerful. He's on the Board of Regents for Texas A&M, and it's a big-time booster for the Aggies sports program. So he wanted them to draft Johnny Manziel. This guy is someone that really pushes the envelope, and he's incredibly wealthy, and he's going to do what he wants. They're different. Rusty and him have a much different style. Mm-hmm. Rusty is a lot quieter and more like low-key, just sort of a old-school Southern gentleman-style lawyer. And I've dealt with Rusty on other things, and, I think he's someone that, they just have a different style. And there's actually, and our newspaper's been writing a lot about this, as have I, not as much as our court reporter. They're different styles, and the way they approach this case, you really have kind of a legal heavyweight battle here for two of the bigger lawyers in town, and it's a pretty big city. But those guys are two of the biggest guns.
Aaron, I know the Houston Texans cannot comment any more than they already have about what's going on with their quarterback and Deshaun Watson, but from the sense that you get, what is the feeling that the Houston Texans, the organization, is having, but also the fan base with what's been taking place?
With him asking to be traded, there are some fans that, they're going in on him. They're, like their attitude's like, well, you don't want to play here anymore. So, I think that's feeding some of the, social media reaction, because some people are immature or maybe enjoy other people's troubles. As you can imagine, with some of the more salacious details are being made fun of. And, I've had even, people in the sports industry, they have a laugh about it. But I would say, and I kind of approach this as I've covered Ray Rice, I've covered Ray Lewis. These things eventually do move on. And I'll ask you a question. Is Ben Roethlisberger, in just your first opinion, accused rapist, sexual assaulter, or just veteran Super Bowl winner? What do you think of first?
I think we think of the veteran Super Bowl winner first, right? Because that's
Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Is he a Hall of Fame quarterback, or is he a guy that allegedly sent pictures of his penis to a woman?
Yeah, we think
Hall
of
of Fame.
the career.
Ray
Correct.
Lewis, maybe a little bit more of a gray area. Ray Lewis, accused murderer, just Hall of Fame linebacker, great linebacker, one of the best ever. My only point is, eventually the story changes, but you have to get through all that. I covered Ray Rice. Ray Rice will always be known for the punch because there's a video, and he never played again. That's different. That's why I would say where it differs. But Deshaun Watson's going to play football again, and he's not going to jail. This is a civil matter. This can be fixed with money. You might face a suspension. Your trade might be delayed. You might not play football this year. All of those are legitimate scenarios. All that said, there'll be a second act for him, and I think by the time he celebrates his 26th birthday, he's playing in a different city in all likelihood, and he's, probably has some sort of, image repair in front of him and an apology tour. But the fact is, this is the passing yardage champion from last year and a 3-time Pro Bowl passer. Of course he's going to play football again, and he'll make it back. But it just started. This is a week old. Yeah. So everybody's like, well, what's going to happen? How will this happen? I don't know. But I have a good feel for it that eventually the cases get worked out one way or another. They either get thrown out or settled or however, or, it gets disposed of. The NFL probably will punish him. They're already investigating. They don't let things go, despite lack of criminal charges. And then, but I think everybody's just going to let it play out because it's going to take a lot of time. These things don't just get cleaned up in a New York minute. We're talking months and months, and it could even be a year. I would just say, as David Cornwell, who represented Ben Roethlisberger, told me this week, Deshaun's going to have to realize you cannot make this thing go any faster than it's going to. When you accept that, then you kind of accept that, you're going to be in the thick of this for a while. And I think it's the reality. That really does ring true, that it's going to be a long process.
He covers the Houston Texans for the Houston Chronicle. He's Aaron Wilson. A couple more minutes with you before we let you go here, Aaron. But obviously you say this is going to take time, and the NFL is still going to keep operating. They still do have a draft coming up. There are still transactions and things being handled, being made, and the Houston Texans, how do they operate with so much right now going on with just the chaos of what's going on with Deshaun Watson? How do they move forward, maybe not knowing if they'll have their quarterback available or not?
To answer your question, Nick Caserio, he has already signed, cut,
Tyrod
traded over 40 players and signed Tyrod Taylor.
Right.
So he's already done all that, and so they have their, stand-in for Deshaun Watson. If Deshaun Watson doesn't play for them, Deshaun, obviously, you guys he doesn't want to play for them, and he said he'll never play another down for these guys. So, where does that leave them? I think, with Tyrod Taylor, if they can't work a trade, and I don't think that they can now because of this situation and the teams being, really having pause because of, the allegations. Yeah, I think they've already moved on. They've already done stuff. They traded for Ryan Finley. They have a backup. Maybe they could draft a quarterback. Maybe they sign another quarterback. They'll have 3 quarterbacks at camp, I'm sure. And the moves, most of them are obviously, they didn't have a lot of cap space, a lot of one-year deals. But, guys like Philip Lindsay and Mark Ingram and trading for Shaq Lawson and Marcus Cannon and adding Kevin Pierre-Louis and Desmond King. Mm-hmm. So, they've been doing roster moves. It's a bunch of, 1-year and 2-year deals. The only 3-year contract was for their new punter, Cameron Johnston, former Eagles punter. So primarily it's a lot of short-term stuff, and they're just trying to, change the culture, make the team more competitive, and they turned over the majority of the roster already. So, Nick Caserio's been busy. They're not distracted by Deshaun at all. I would say, if anything, he's laser-focused, and he's getting his, work in, and the whole personnel department, they're busy. They're not letting anything with Deshaun, his situation, his trade demands, all of those things. No, I don't think it's deterred them at all. They're doing their job.
Well, Aaron, I appreciate all the info and I appreciate the time, man. Definitely getting caught up on what's the latest on this Deshaun Watson news, man. Appreciate the time.
All right, thanks. Bye.
That's Aaron Wilson, covers the Texans for the Houston Chronicle.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.